What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel as well as another video. Today is going to make episode 5 in our FXRT build, and this is going to be the start of the mock-up process. We have a few things that we need to clean up before we're ready to actually mount the fairing to the bike, and we're going to get those things done today. We're going to need to get rid of these handlebars. Those are coming off. And we're going to install some risers. These risers are going to relocate the speedometer to a different position. Once we do that, we'll then be able to mount that piece on there and double check that we're going to have the proper clearance in order to make everything work. We also have forward controls that we're going to need to get rid of. We're going to be reverting back to the mid control. So we have a different brake lever set up and pegs and all that stuff that's going to go on. Same thing over here on the other side. We have linkage that's going to replace this linkage and allow us to put our shifter back to that position. And then we also have these rear shocks. If you guys remember in one of the last videos, I talked about taking these things apart and painting the springs black and then putting everything back together. I wasn't really sure on how to do that, so like anyone else, I started looking around on the internet, and I actually found a guy with a YouTube channel. His name is Pacific Mike, and he does a really good job of explaining how to take these things apart. It's a fairly simple looking straightforward process that involves a press, and he has a tool that he has made that he fashioned up in order to do that. So I kind of watched his video and made a few notes on what he was using and then built my own. So this tool right here is going to go into the press. The circular spot right here is just wide enough to fit that shock through the center of it, and it's going to push down and allow us to remove the keeper, which is this little ring right here that's holding everything together. Once that keeper comes out, you release the pressure and the spring comes right out. You can then do whatever you need to do to the spring. In this case, we're going to sandblast it, and then we are going to paint it black. And then we can go back in and just kind of press everything back together, and it should, fingers crossed, it should come out just fine. That's going to take probably the most amount of work, so I think we're going to get started on that first. So without further ado, let's get going. With the shocks out of the way, we can now concentrate on removing these forward controls. Holding this in is going to be 2 bolts right here. It looks as if they stacked a bunch of washers in here to make some sort of a spacer to get those to sit right. We'll get that out of there. We also have a 3/8 wrench. We'll take this loose here and we can remove that linkage from it and we'll be good on that side. On this side over here, we have a little nut right here that we got to back off, and we have what's left of a cotter pin up underneath here holding this pin in here. Once we remove that, we can gain access to these 2 bolts right here. That'll come right off, and we should be good to go. So, all right, let's get doing it. Okay, with all that old stuff off and sitting off to the side, we can now concentrate on putting all the new stuff on. I say new, but this is actually used components. They're in decent shape though. This aluminum could use a little polishing. I think I'm going to do that once it's mounted on the bike. But we'll go through. I got new hardware here. I'm going to go ahead and mount this stuff on. So let's get to it. Okay, now it's time to start concentrating on these handlebars. So with this fairing setup, we have a couple of different options here. Either way, this speedometer is going to have to stay with this bike and in this kind of setup that we have going here. With the risers, it is going to raise the speedometer up. We're looking to try to possibly get it to sit a little bit further, straight up to the rider's view. So in order to do that with the risers, we've gone with these pullback style risers right here. That's gonna kind of alter the positioning of that. This is going to be option 1. I'm still not 100% sure that once this is mounted to it, it's going to put it up too high. I'm not trying to have this the Speedo stick out over the windshield if possible, because I really don't think that's going to be too good of a look. So we also have option 2, and that would be this speedometer relocation kit with this bracket here that would mount wherever you want to place it on here. That's going to give you whatever height you want. So that will require taking apart the speedometer, going through and kind of rewiring it to this bracket and making it work. either way, whatever one is going to look the best, that's the one we're going with. But we're going to try option 1. So I'm going to go ahead and start pulling this thing all apart. We got to get rid of all this stuff off the bars, remove the bars from the bike, install the risers, and then see exactly where this thing is going to, where it's going to sit. So, all right, let's get going on it. So I know I said I had 2 options, and that I was going to exercise both of those options before I made a final decision. But I got to tell you, I really like the way this thing looks. I don't even think I'm going to go with option 2. I think we're gonna go with this. It makes the speedometer sit nice and flat, so you can see everything. It doesn't mess with your field of view. You can actually see well over it. That's not a problem. I had another fairing that I grabbed real quick just to kind of set up in place and get an idea of where this thing sits in relation to where the fairing sits. And I don't think this is going to stick out above the shield. I think it's going to fall somewhere either level or a little bit below. And that's a great thing. You know, option 2, albeit a very good one, I started just kind of holding it up to the bike, and if you put it about where it would go, I'm guessing somewhere in that neighborhood there, it puts this thing at a really odd angle. It'll hinder your, being able to see any of the lights that are on the little, if you want to call it an instrument cluster, and I think the risers are going to block the view of the speedometer, so I don't really like that. And if you were to say, okay, well, we'll just raise it up and we'll go up here, well, now you've just duplicated exactly what we have going on here. So I don't see any reason to mess with this thing. I won't have to tear it apart. Again, all I got to do is lengthen some wiring, which I knew I was going to have to anyway. So that'll be in an upcoming video. I do have to go ahead and put the bracket in for the fairing. That is going to give me an idea of where everything's going to be able to go cable-wise and, wiring and whatnot. But that'll all be in an upcoming video. So, all right, I think we're going to stop right here and call it good. That looks pretty sweet. And that's going to bring this video to a close. And make sure you join me next time when we start fabbing up all the bracketry and mock mounting this fairing to the bike in order to get it ready for the bodywork stages that we're going to be starting on. There's going to be a big transformation coming up soon here in this bike, and you're not going to want to miss any of it. And if you haven't already, do me a favor, give me the thumbs up, subscribe, as well as hit that bell for notifications so you know when more videos like this are going to be coming out. And as always, keep the shiny side up, and I'll see you guys all on the next video.